So thank you all for tuning in. I'm Selena Marche, and this is You Plus Happy, where every other Tuesday I bring you someone who challenges us to define happiness and success on their own terms with a dose of laughter. I want to hear your thoughts, y'all. So please, if you have questions, leave them in the comments, leave a review, tell your friends, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. It really, really helps the show grow. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram at You Plus Happy. Also, a bit of good news for You Plus Happy. We just got approved to do press at the Atlanta Film Festival, which is one of the biggest festivals and most respected festivals in the country. So, You Plus Happy moving on up. This week we have Perry, who, okay, so his friend sent me his bio, and I told him I'm gonna say it like this. So, Perry graduated from College of Wooster with a degree in anthropology. He owns a business and is in school for more shit. But he said, but Perry, you told me you're not in school right
I'm not in school.
He's not in school right now, but he's just doing some other shit.
Yeah.
And he's also a personal trainer, fitness coach, and all that. That's what my friend said. Y'all know I don't usually introduce people that unprofessionally, but I had the privilege of going to one of his classes, a jump roping class. Y'all, I can't jump rope, but
You're doing good. You're doing good.
He did a really great job. So welcome, Perry, to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. And he came on short notice. So
Yeah.
look, a flexible person, go with the flow.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Life is beautiful. You know, I'm grateful for opportunities that I get to just do more shit. Like you said, like Ant says, like I love just doing shit.
Yeah, we're just doing shit.
That's it.
If y'all don't make it to the end of the show, I want you to tell you to subscribe to Perry's YouTube channel because and I'll tell you everything. He's gonna tell you everything he has to offer on the channel. But we're all trying to grow our platforms. So what's your YouTube?
Yeah, so it's representing my business. It's Worthy Athletics, and that's WORTHEY. And then Regularly Athletics. You can find that on Instagram. And I'm doing YouTube as well. So we were talking about it earlier. I got a 90-day content challenge. So I'm at one video now, but we're going to keep rolling it. It has a lot of great information about health, fitness, but in a different light than what you typically see from influencers. So if you would support, that'd be awesome. And I know everyone can have some great benefit from that.
We always can use some fitness and health, especially in this country. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. How did you get started?
Yeah, so I guess the best way to say it is I guess it's kind of not my origin, but not really my origin story. But I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, on the west side of Atlanta. But it was a whole different west side of Atlanta than it is now, of course. But I grew up there. But we ended up moving to the east side, my family, and like 2010, some 2000 something. But when I was in like middle school ish, and so I kind of did from there. But then I went to college. I got the opportunity to go to the College of Wooster in Ohio. So this was a completely different shift for me, growing up in like the blackest neighborhood household that you can think of, and then going to the middle of nowhere, Ohio. So. It was cool though. I had a wealth of opportunities. I met some of the most amazing people of my entire life, and my perspective opened. It allowed me to like live in Australia for 6 months. So,
really?
Yeah, and I say all that to kind of put into context of how I got started into what I do now. Because I went to school originally for anthropology, and I still have the aspirations of being a college professor, but I kind of never really knew or had an idea of what I wanted it to be when I grew up, because that's what everyone else was like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, all that fun stuff. I was like, that sounds like y'all some nerds, bro. Like, respectful. That sounds like a lot.
Was it the schooling that sounded like a lot?
Well, it's not that the schooling stuff sounded like it wasn't what I wanted enough. It was like the payoff versus the war, and I'm not discrediting the fields at all, but for me, it didn't sound fun just having to sit there and read those books all the time. Or the law wasn't interesting me. interesting to me at that point. Well, not interested enough for me to dedicate my life to it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a good chunk of your 20s that you have to do law school. And I know there are options and stuff,
right?
But you go to school for a very long time, all your adolescence.
Yeah.
So, so that just wasn't a career path that interested me. So, but I knew I wanted to do people, and I wanted to be involved with people somewhere. I always had like a pretty great personality. I love hanging out with people, love kicking shit with people, love meeting new people. And so I did this little, what are you gonna be when you grow up thing in high school, and it said anthropology, and I chose the biggest word I could.
Wait, was it a test or you just?
It was like a quiz thing. Yeah, one of those quiz. What do you want to do?
Really? And it told you anthropology?
Yeah, it said what had some of your characteristics. They asked, you ask a bunch of questions, you answered it. And I just chose the biggest word that made me sound smart. And I was like, anthropology. But then I Googled it, did some more research. And I was like, damn, this is me. I am him. So I ended up going to the school for Wooster, and that sparked it. But upon graduating, that's when I went into the workforce, and I worked at Brilliant Earth. They do like shout out to them, But they did it's a jewelry place that do wedding bands, engagement rings, the bridal sets, and they're based on being ethical jewelry and stuff. That kind of just sparked the sales aspect of it. Did that for a little bit, had some other jobs, but then entrepreneurship called out to me. And I took it. What,
besides anthropology being a big word and sounding cool, what confirmed it though? Like I know you Googled it and looked into it. What about that Google search?
Yeah, got me. It was just the study of cultures and people and family. And I was always a kid growing up who loved nature documentaries and just historical documentaries and about different people and cultures, all that stuff. I was a nerd. I am a nerd. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought it was interesting. It's one of those callings that you can't really explain. Like I always had the dream of going to Australia and looking and studying with not studying with them, but studying Aboriginals of that time. Because it was a penal colony when it first was settled. But then it has so many cool animals, so you can only imagine what the people in that culture is like. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons.
What are the career opportunities for anthropology?
Professor, museum curator. It's a lot of different things. You can go into public health. There are 5 different kind of like subsets of anthropology. So you got biological anthropology. You can go to the medical field with that. You got cultural anthropology, which I study. So that's where the museum things happen. That's when like project managers and people who understand culture, business people can use anthropology degrees, education, teachers. It's a lot. Then you got archaeology, so you can go to the archaeology field, linguistics, and then applied anthropology, which you be used for any and everything that you want. So it was such a diverse field. There was just or you can go government work, of course. Okay. But because it was so diverse, you had different avenues to choose from.
Yeah. One of the goals of U Plus Happy is to give people options, right? Because you don't think about. I mean, I've heard the word anthropology, and the store. Is there a store?
There's a store. Okay. But believe it or not, they market for like middle-aged white women.
I know.
Yeah. I was like, what? Can you imagine me? I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest place. Okay.
But you don't think about all the careers, like, because I wanted to go to school at one point for sociology.
Nice.
But I wasn't open. I wasn't privy to all the things you could do, and because you got to think about what work you're going to do. So I like that you mentioned there's so many options for that field, right?
And I think it came from me with the sense of being kind of like, I was a smart kid growing up. I would say I'm pretty aware of what's happening. Like I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew that degree inevitably was still just a piece of paper. It's what you choose to do to it. It kind of like is a key or like a certification saying that, I'm qualified. I spent the hours doing that. Yeah. But, you can spend the hours doing it in something that doesn't fulfill your soul, and then now you're just doing meaningless work, And so as a kid, I knew that. I knew when I got out, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to do shit. You know what I'm saying?
What made you think you could? Because like, I don't know what your background is, but when I was growing up, everybody worked, regular jobs just to pay the bills. I mean, you got to survive. It was more of a survival environment versus I love what I do, or something that you could tolerate. like I have one person in my family who I grew up with. They're not a person who could sit behind a desk, so they just found something where they could be a busybody.
Yeah.
But it was never like I can go have fun for what I do. What made you feel like that was an option?
Because as a kid, I think I was always, and this is kind of going a little deeper, but I'm okay with sharing my story because I want to get myself out there. This is the year for me to do that. But like I said, my childhood wasn't fun at all. I grew up, I was the youngest out of 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all my older siblings, they got at least 2 kids now. So I've always been Uncle Perry, but...
you said you were the youngest or the oldest?
I'm the youngest out of 6.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad passed when I was like 5.
Okay.
So you already got the stereotype of growing up without the father in the black neighborhoods and da this and that. And, you know, the sister that I was in and out of the foster care system for a while.
Okay.
My sisters, they had their issues, but they raised me. And just kind of growing up, it just wasn't fun. And my mom was there, but she's, I don't mind saying that she was addicted to crack. So it's like she was there, but there were times where it was me and my older sister, and she'd be gone for like days on end. So I say all that to say, I as a kid had a very powerful imagination. And that's a mental faculty that people don't even try to develop. But as a kid, it was developed for me because I blocked out the noise. I disassociated a lot. Because I knew what was going on, I knew what was happening in the other room. I knew the violence. Knew I was aware. There's a time when I was with an auntie, and then her or whoever it was to our family came and kicked down the door and they held her at knife point. And so for me, it was like that's just a way of life. But as a kid, I still wanted to be a kid. So my imagination allowed me. I was always the kid having fun with the pencils. I didn't really need toys like that. If I had a pencil, that would be my action figure. If I had markers, that's what I'm saying in anime. Like the different markers would be like the red would be fire, the blue would be water and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like I used that, and growing up, I continued to disassociate, and it wasn't as much as about what I wanted to do. It was who I wanted to be, and I wanted to be fucking rich. Right? I wanted to be filthy rich because for me that equated to having the free space to help the people I wanted to help and be in the place that I wanted to be. So for so long throughout school, I was in my own world, and that world wasn't there. It was who I'm going to be. So everything that I did throughout school isn't leading to a job, because that's not the end goal. It's leading into me being a person who can earn enough money for me to do whatever I want. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew we lived in America. That's what history taught us. Like, even though this place is something else, right? It's still one of the most, it's still one of the richest, most abundant in opportunities of places that you can be. You know what I'm saying? So I held on to those ideals even when I got to college. I was like, even though I know anthropology major and they make all the jokes, you're gonna be working as a Starbucks barista, this, that, and the third. Right. I never once subscribed to that because I didn't have to.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask a little bit about, because you mentioned America and then you went to Australia for 6 months. What were the differences? What did you learn?
It was still white. Oh my God.
Let me check the camera. I'm producing myself today, y'all.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you're in frame. Okay. All right. And I'm recording. Because usually I have a producer here. Anyways, all right. Y'all, I'm producing today and I just be getting nervous. All right.
I'm the same way. Wait, am I in frame? Let me run back to the... Did they see the bicep?
Somebody told me to get an Apple Watch so I can watch
it.
But
it is.
I'm like, ugh.
I never charged mine, bro.
Really? Okay. So you don't use it. You can donate it so you feel happy. But you said, so Australia, what part did you go to?
It was Sydney. I went to the University of New South Wales.
Okay. Oh, you did a
study abroad. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It wasn't just up and move.
So you said it's still white.
Yeah, it was still white, but it was reminiscent of the United States. It's just their black people were aboriginals.
Okay.
And so when I would go there, you got your. It was very diverse though. I'm not gonna sit there and lie. It's way more diverse because Asia is so close to it. There's a huge Asian population over there, and when I say white, I mean like you had the culture of like they were just white but different, a different kind of white, and then. You would go on the streets and you had the Aboriginal population, but you weren't seeing them live the same lifestyle that a lot of white people that you were seeing. You know what I'm saying? There's a clear divide, So I was like, okay, this is kind of reminiscent. And then you go into the history of it. They were, a penal colony, but they're also colonized by this guy named James Cook, who came on there, and the first thing he did was like shot an Aboriginal. And there's a shield with his bullet in it in the British Museum that they've been fighting for years to get back. So it had kind of like a similar starting point as America. But for me, as someone who, as a black man who's never been out of the country before, it was revolutionary though. Like, it was much safer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't fear, you know what I'm saying? Being black there wasn't like being black here. You know what I'm saying? So I was walking the beach at night, you know what I'm saying? People, they looked at me because they didn't really see too many black Americans like that. It was a lot of Africans that were there too. But they were still welcoming and warming. You know, I feel like they're a little bit easier to talk to. And obviously, I haven't been to all the parts, but this is just from my experience on being on the campus and visiting some of the smaller regions because I traveled there a lot. It was for me personally, it was a beautiful experience because of the intentions I went there for. You know
what were your intentions?
To just not have to do so much. Like, I was always a high achiever in school because being the youngest out of 6, I knew where I wanted to be, and I didn't want to end up like my siblings. Not that saying they're bad people, but some of their life choices doesn't reflect the results that I desire in my life. So I wanted to take a different path. But I always been a high achiever in school. I always did the straight A's. I always had to be the president or something, or being involved or doing a sport. But when I went to Australia, I just wanted to be by the water and by the beach. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see some animals. I wanted to go be in my dream. Because as a kid, I literally dreamed about going there one day. I used to watch these Australian YouTubers. Laserbeam, before he got super, super big, man. But anyway, yeah.
So you said there was fear. There's less fear there. You feel fear here in America?
It's the subconscious fear of, how there are always propaganda, like just being a black man in America is dangerous because of all the internalized hate and racism from so much and all the tension that builds up. You can just be chilling and like you get pulled over and hear a whoop, and it's like, damn, am I gonna get shot today?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't personally feel that all the time, but I can feel in the back of my mind, I'm like, God damn, this man got me, right? But in Australia, like, I was just like, I think they banned weapons, or it's some law to where it's like, the police don't even have guns like that. So I saw this guy running from the cops like it was an old cartoon or some shit, and the cop was like, "Here, get back here!" There's a drunk guy running from him and shit. And I'm pretty sure they got like guns. I don't know the specific laws, but it just felt like overall a safer place.
That makes me want to cry. Because I'm not a black man in America, but I'm black and I'm a person of color, and to have that, I have that same feeling about the cops, because we know about the ones that got really publicized, the shootings, and I won't stay on this too long, but when you look it up, there are so many more, all different complexions, women included, so it's really scary. But beyond that, I don't know if you feel like this, but I just feel like walking around that people hate me, like, and I know that everybody has biases and racist thoughts. Like, you can't live in America and tell me you don't have those thoughts. Even if you're fighting against them, you have those thoughts. Like, I don't want to tell people what they're thinking, but I know they come up. So if I go to a restaurant and it's all white, I feel uncomfortable. And like, I don't dislike any race group of people, but there's this nagging feeling that they don't want me there. And so that's what I mean by saying uncomfortable. That was why one of the choices, I'm not from Atlanta. I moved here because of the population of there's so many black people.
It's a black Mecca now.
Yeah, and it's the opportunities where, I'm from Baltimore. There's a lot of black people, but they don't have the opportunities that I want in my field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes me like, and to hear you say that about just driving around, and I know it's not like this, woe is me.
Right,
this,
I'm not a victim mentality.
Starting these violence. But I think it's important to say that some black people do walk around with these feelings, and so somebody listening to this can know they're not alone.
Yeah, no.
And just, I don't know, just to have some like kind. I don't want to use this like tawdry word, kindness, but just being kind to one another, because a lot of us are walking around with that in the back of our mind. Yep. I don't harp on it, and it's not going to stop me from doing shit.
Facts. But, I'm doing it.
But it is. It also doesn't mean that that I need to dismiss this real thing that I feel. Yep. So I like that that we acknowledge it. And then you're not the first person I heard, or the first country where you said Australia, you didn't feel that there. I heard that about Paris and London. I don't know if it's changing now, but the guy who wrote Tahashi Coates, I think that's his name, he wrote the book Between the World and Me. And he said when he would, this was a long time ago, but he said when he would go to Paris and London, he felt like he had a break from racism. And I've never felt that, because I've only, I'm not that worldly yet. I ain't been over there to Europe yet, and I ain't been to Australia yet. But I've only been to like the surround, like, like Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and places like that. But well, Puerto Rico is America, whatever. So I'm excited to go, and I think this is the last thing I'll say, just for a side note. I'm light skinned, so people probably don't think that I feel these feelings, but I feel them very strongly. So I'm excited to go and experience this, like, not feeling like that way. And I feel like it's something you can't even describe, right? Like,
there was a quote.
That was so long. Sorry.
Please never apologize. Like, the stream of consciousness is meant to be said. So those things say that. But I read this like meditations every morning, and they got different parables and analogies. But it was a quote talking about how if you pay attention to nature, if you pay attention to the things that's around you, they're all saying something that can't be expressed with words, but it's still understood. And I think that's an energy thing. I think the vibrational energy is super huge in that. So don't ever apologize for that. But I agree. Like, it was like when I went there, I was just like, yay, I worked so hard. Now I get a semester to BS, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I mean, I went to, I was, so I know, like, I worked so hard in high school. I had like AP classes, and I got like 5 on most of my exams and stuff. So a lot of my AP classes counted towards the freshman year, towards credits for my graduating in college. So I essentially stacked up enough credits to where I can take a semester off and still be on track for graduation. So I used the opportunity for my junior year to say, I'm going to use this to study abroad, take one class that I actually need for my major, and the rest are going to be some shit that I can either use for like a general ed class or, something I want to be interested in. So it was cool.
I'm glad you said that, because I think too, like, this hustle culture in America is like, we got to find that balance. And I love that you're like, I worked my butt off, and then I took the opportunity to still, like, stay on track, but give yourself a little bit of a break. That's so important, because we get burnt out, and then things go all the way left.
There you go. Yeah, and it wasn't just about burnout for me too. I think that's, inevitable. I think a lot of people think like balance in itself needs to be like, okay, work then play, then work then play, then work then play. No. For me, it's like, the more you work, the less you play. But if you continue to work harder, then you're gonna need to work less, and you can play more. Work less, play more. And so that's why I was like, I was okay with not being balanced and working so hard, because I knew that 6 months that I was gonna be there, I worked a little bit and I played a lot. So that's what kind of like helped me get to that point as well. But it was well worth it. But you're right though, it definitely helped with the burnout, because when I came back home, there was a moment of shock to where I had to readjust. But I was my consciousness, it was my stream of consciousness expanded in a way that was indescribable. Like, again, growing up, I've only had dreams and visions of what it would be like to not be in that space where all the yelling and the screaming and the drama and the this blah blah blah, to where I can just like feel something. But when I tell you, we went to it was like a 3-hour drive out there, no lights. They had the cabin or Airbnb that one of my friends owned, and that had the power generator. But other than that, there were no street lights for miles. There was no service, none of that. And then you go outside, it was pitch black, but you look up at the sky and it was like littered with just like some of the most incredible stars and stripes and all kinds of shit that you're like, wait a second, this actually exists. So from that point on, it really did open my mind and open my mindset to like, this world is so massive and there's so many things that you can be. So why do we limit ourselves, And I just took that spirit and energy, and I haven't been the same since. So it was a beautiful experience. I think everyone should at least tickle themselves to the idea of trying it.
Yeah. Going back, wait, real quick before I forget, what book you said the meditation book. What is it called?
It's called The Book of Awakenings.
Okay.
I can't remember who it's from, but it's a bunch of Eastern philosophy, and every day of the year has a different analogy and then some meditation practices.
Okay. And do you meditate?
Yeah, I meditate every day.
How long?
It depends on what the day looks like, but typically I'll do it after a workout, and I try to go for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's why I do use my Apple Watch then, but because meditation gets hard for people because they're like blah blah blah. So the meditation app on the Apple Watch, it'll click on, or it'll have a notification when you need to breathe again.
Okay.
So as you're going through a session, it will like inhale, and then when it's time to, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like a trigger. It finds triggers for you to breathe, so it makes it easy.
How long have you been doing it?
Consistently, like 2.5 months is where I've been doing the Apple Watch one, but it used to be just on and off. It just hasn't been a practice where I can do it. It's like I was gonna wake up, you know the routines.
Yeah.
Like, wake up, jump in the pool, stay in the air for about 4 minutes. Go in the air for about 4 minutes and shit.
Yes.
And then make another 10K.
Duh.
Yeah, right. It's too easy, right?
You got it's light work.
Right.
It's a lame way. And then going to I don't want to talk about your childhood too much because I feel like you're on such a just a different wave, I guess, for lack of a better term. But was there a shift, or what would you tell someone going through that, or like how do you not repeat it? Because like I grew up in certain stuff and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. And then some of it slips out because it's so ingrained in you. And you're like, oh, damn, I did that thing I said I was never going to do.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah, yep. So how do you, and this doesn't even have to be about your child, but how do you like manage not repeating things that you saw so much?
Yeah, I accept it. I accept who I am for who I am. And that's the first thing to any change you want to, do. But you have to be outside of that. You know what I'm saying? You got to destroy the ego, and there's a lot of, hoopla about how to do that, but you just really got to want it. And it has to be a desire, because there are parts of my family where I'm like, I use the analogy, 'cause I don't know what kind of like friendly, if it's family friendly or not, but
I didn't say shit about 10 times. I don't think.
Oh, okay, cool. Because listen, you can take a nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga. I'm over here in a very nice part of Avondale, and I'm still talking my shit. I'm still gonna be. I don't give a fuck what neighborhood I'm in. I'm going down. I'm play some Future. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's about creating and recreating yourself.
Yeah.
So I just learned to accept who I am for who I am, and accept others for who they are, because I try to keep my vibrational frequency at a pretty high level, because I'm trying to attract money and abundance, and so that's where it kind of comes from. I kind of stem it. All goes back to being the person who I want to be, and not the person that does the thing. But if I'm someone who attracts money and abundance, I don't really want money. I mean, money is just a physical manifestation of the abundance that we truly want. So I'm trying to attract abundance into my life.
What is abundance to you?
So abundance is a divine energy that allows us to have everything that we need on a spiritual sense. So abundance is the energy to create more. You know what I'm saying? I have everything I need to make it easier for someone else to do something, and it makes for me. So it's the feeling of never having lack in life. Lack is an illusion. We have everything we need, even though we might not have it in the physical sense. You got breath, you have life. If you have movement, for those who are able-bodied, you're alive. You have people around you. And that's the abundance I want. But for my abundance to manifest itself, I want greater abundance. And the only way to spread that abundance is through the physical manifestation of money. So that's why I want abundance. And that's the reason I'm starting a business. Not for me. Yeah, it's going to help me. But I want to, where I donate 10% of my profits to nonprofit. I mean, 10% of my profits to the nonprofit to help me get to college.
Yeah.
And that is going to go into helping other students chase their dreams for Australia. You know what I'm saying? Or traveling.
Real quick, going back, how do you accept people? How does that look? Because for me, I ask that because some people I can't be around. I just can't. And I I don't know if that's accepting them or not, but I'm accepting what I have space for.
Yeah.
And I have to honor that. So what does that look like when you, because there's some people you have to accept, right? Like my family, I'm going to accept them. It ain't always easy, but I love y'all. But, and I'm sure it's the same for them. But so how do you make space for, you know what do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It's just ripping off the Band-Aid and getting out of that space, like physically. There's no way I was going to change or evolve as a human being, and I was blessed and grateful to leave the west side of Atlanta, the part I was staying at. You know, we moved to the east side. It was quieter and it was slower, and I think that's what it is. It's slowing down.
Okay.
Because people think like, you know, slow motion is no motion, but like just sitting in it, you know. There are days where I have like really deep meditations where it's just me for maybe like 30 minutes, and it's just, you know, me, and visions and things come, and visions come to you in the way of pictures. Like humans create pictures in their minds, but for me it was my family and people and the people who meant stuff for me, and I try to transmute that energy into acceptance, because I don't want to block. I believe in chakras and energy, and I believe your heart chakra and your heart in general needs to remain open if you're gonna do anything in life. So over time we get so much and it builds up. And that's, you know, how people, you know, like, especially for men, it's like, I don't feel tough. No, but that emotional damage builds up inside the heart. And so you have to be able to release that. And so every so often I find ways just to release all the negative vibrations in my heart.
How do you release them?
Breathe.
Just that's it?
You go
well,
into
you work
nature.
Out a lot too,
and that helps, but that only helps on a physical plane. Like we live on 3 different planes of reality. I feel like as human beings we are 3 different creatures. We're physical creatures on this level. This is me and you talking, and the body and the table. But then if you go deeper than that, then we're intellectual beings. And this isn't just my words, but we're intellectual beings. That's where we have those thoughts, those emotions. We hear, taste, touch, smell, all of that. That's where our intellect. And then on a deeper level than that, we're spiritual beings. You know what I'm saying? And people call it God, people call it the collective consciousness, people call it the infinite intelligence, but whatever it is, like, I try to tap into that, because people are humans. We are human beings. So that's why I say, if you want to be again, you have to be around other things that are being. So trees, nature, water. We're 70-75% water. So if you can sit by a lake and let the sun reflect upon you, you let the birds do their thing, you let the ants do their thing, they're not complaining or worried about that shit. They're just trying to continue to move on and move. And so if you can sit still and be by that, then, you know, it's important. That's why I say, going back to your question of how do I get outside of that, or how do I change that, I just go outside. You know what I'm saying? Working out, yes, but meeting people, going outside, breathing some air, taking a deep breath, stretching your body, keeping yourself open, doesn't mean I don't have my boundaries. I got brothers that I love, but I love from a distance. I'll say no, you quit. I go months without talking to them. But that doesn't mean it's not love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you mentioned destroying the ego. What does that mean to you?
So I feel like destroying the ego is just more so like, it's not stop judging, but instead of judging, realize that it's not about you always. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you and taking care of yourself and all of that stuff is very important, because you can't give into an empty cup. But some things we build our own concepts of who we are as a personality, but that's not really who we are. You know, words are used to create that. Words are used to create worlds, but words can also create slavery and mental prisons and spiritual prisons. You know what I'm saying? And it's all saying the same thing. You have to break free your soul, and live life, live, laugh, love, and shit. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's just like, nah, you don't, bro. You just got to be a decent human being. And it sounds so simple because we're all different. That's another thing about Australia. The reason it felt so safe, because everyone looked the same for the most part. They were Aboriginals, but a huge population of Aboriginals are in prison, so they didn't really need that much security. So it's even in that, it's like, it has its own thing. But taking it back to here in America and just bringing it back in, like if you just if stop thinking about yourself so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
like I came here on short notice. I didn't do my hair. I know I need a haircut. I know I need to self-groom and stuff, but like on a deeper level, on a spiritual level, like my being is perfect.
Yeah.
So like you can't judge me. I could care less. I like to praise, I guess, but I can go else without it because I'm still knowing that my spirit is on a mission, or whatever you want to call it, or my calling. I'm attracted to helping other people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And speaking of helping other people, you said earlier like giving 10%, which is and then the abundance and money and all those are like, those are helpful, and I think they're the obvious things, right? But like I've said this on the show before, because I'm thinking like I try to think about how I can give where I am, and giving. I wonder what you think. Giving can be just being nice to people and like giving people your time and like smiling at somebody on the street or just picking up something, like somebody dropped something, like or volunteering your time and just making people feel seen. And that's something I have to practice because I do get caught up in my own head a lot. And so that's one of the things I think about a lot. How can I be a blessing to someone else today where I am? Because I'm saying this for anybody listening too, is like, I don't want people to think the only way to give is money. Yes, money is important. It's a tool, like you said, and it's very important. I'm not trying to dismiss that, but I know somebody being kind to you. Okay, say you give them the money, then the person's all, and then you can still have bad days. You still sit in traffic. People still treat you like crap, like shit. Shit is the word of the day. So I'm just wondering what you think about that, and that's something I think about a lot in the message I want to share. We can give if we're up. We can give something from where we are. Yep. It doesn't have to be monetary. You know, that's what I think.
Well, no, and it's true. I believe in, and I follow kind of the laws of the universe. So, I mean, there are physical laws, but there are laws that govern the universe, and it always has been, always will be. And one of the laws is the law of compensation. I'm just using money because that's what people are kind of familiar with as like the mainstream tool for abundance, but it's not really it. The law of compensation talks about what you give is what you get, and how much you get is going to be in direct proportion to how much you give. And money, being compensated doesn't always mean money. You know what I'm saying? I'm compensated in lessons. I tell people, like, if you want to train me, some people, I'm like, yeah, man, come train me for free. They're like, you don't want me to pay you? You don't want me to do this? Like, you serious? And I'm like, no, I want you to do that. Your compensation for me is going to be you not quitting. You being the person that you want to be, because now I don't get paid in money, but I get paid with the feeling in my soul that, damn, I really helped somebody today.
Yeah, because I think about you have goals, and I'm going to get to the entrepreneurship, and you coach people, and that's important. I don't want to speak for you. That seems important to you. You plus happy is important to me, and being successful and living in my purpose. But I say, everything's coming. Everything's happening. Things are constantly growing. Who am I? What is important to me when I'm not chasing these things, right? Say they are. That's why I think that's why people get to certain levels and they're not happy, because it's not going to make you happy. I think it has a lot of benefits. It helps self-esteem and it helps you in these certain areas. But who's going to celebrate with me? Who am I when You Plus Happy has 1 million subscribers? When I go home at night, am I happy with who I am? Or not even happy, but am I pleased? Am I content? Like, nothing is going, and it sounds like, I feel like we've heard this before, but nothing's going to make you content. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I know you know this because I'm listening to you talk, but I think that's an important thing to explore, you know, like it doesn't matter what your goals are. And I'm not saying don't accomplish them, because when I'm not doing anything, I feel like crap, like, because as human beings, we're supposed, I think evolution and growth is super important. And when we're stagnant, it feels, I get depressed. It doesn't work for me. So having these goals makes me feel alive, and that's important, but that's not all of who I am. And so, I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, you hit on a lot of important points. I do want to go back real quick. So, because while you were speaking, you talk about, it was success. And one of the biggest things about success, and you talk about like goals and stuff, they're gonna come. Right. I'm a gamer. Like I grew up, again, I'm a nerd. I grew up playing video games and Dark Souls and RPGs, and I chose the hardest games for a reason because you gotta grind. And me and Ant talk about it all the time. You gotta fucking grind. So it's gonna be a grind anyway. So why not enjoy the grind? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna play a game that I don't enjoy. I'm gonna quit it. You know what I'm saying? So success for me, Earl Nightingale talks about it all the time in The Strangest Secret. It's he says success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And it's funny because my last name is Worthy, but if you hear it again, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you have something that is worth pursuing, if you have something that benefits somebody else, if you have someone that makes someone else's life easier or your own life easier, every step that you take, you're already successful. So that's what defining success for me means. I'm already successful. I've done shit that people, and I'm 26, and I've done stuff that people in their entire lives haven't done. Like, and that's another reason why I'm so content with where I am today. And I'm okay with being broke, and I'm okay with building, because I started a trucking company. That was my first entrepreneurial venture. I was 22 years old. And my neighbor was telling me about the trucking business, and I was going to get a house. I was going to be a professor. I was going to go to my master's school, something like that. And then I decided, now I'm going to be an entrepreneur. And I got so much money from that. I got a truck. I started the LLC. I got the EIN. I got the commercial insurance. I got the drivers. I put the ads. I got the dispatcher. Everything that you can think of for having a box truck, I did that. And we were bringing in, some months it was $60K that we brought in, but because of my inexperience in business and stuff, that turned into payments for the insurance, payments for the driver, payment for the taxes, payment for this, trying to truck maintenance. So I would walk away with maybe like 8 or 6K, but that had to go because next month came by so quick. And if you're behind, boom. So at 22 years old, people would think, oh my God, this guy has a business. He's standing third. He's mad successful. I was the most depressed I've ever been in my entire life.
Why?
Because the trucking business is one of the most insane industries you can go into, because the accidents manifested times 10. Instead of just driving a car, you got a 26-foot box truck with over 10,000 pounds worth of shit in it. So if anything happens, that's on your ass. If that breaks, if that guy, you got insurance and stuff, but as a kid, as a 20-something-year-old who still is, my frontal cortex ain't even developed yet. And I wake up at 5 in the morning, not even 5, like 4:30 in the morning, and my driver's like, I ain't gonna lie to you, boss, I flipped the truck. My heart sank. All of the investments, all of the time that I spent saving up for this truck is littered on the side of the road. Now what am I gonna do? Because at the time I was trying to balance being the trucking owner and having the job. But one had to go, and it ended up being my job. So I went all in, and I had the support and love of the people to do it. But people don't talk about the man in the arena. You're not in my shoes when it's time to pay people out. You're not in my shoes when it's time to talk to insurance people or talk to this guy or make sure. And so it was just a lot of stress, a lot of responsibility. I had to always be on 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, because my guy's in California. I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So it became too much to bear, you know.
So you just let it go? I
just let it go.
Did you sell it or?
Nah, man, I just stopped.
You just stopped?
Because and I got things I owe. It's still haunting me financially to this day. But if I can do it then, I know I can do it now.
Right.
So that's how I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? I understand how credit and stuff works. The experiences, that's what I was telling you about. The money was all right. Yeah, it was cool. And at times where I got some good shit. Yeah. But it just, from my soul, was collapsing in. So that's why I tell you, we're physical, intellectual, and spiritual beings. In order to truly accept that or be the same person that you are, you have to remove the ego and just continue to go deeper and keep asking yourself, who am I? And so you can start with the questions pretty deep. I'm sorry I get so deep, but this is how I think. And it's just like, I'm not Perry Worthey. Like, those are 2 words that people gave me and said, boom, that's who you are. I'm not a black man. Black means something different in a completely different language. That's just something that people use to identify me. So if I'm not Perry Worthey, you would think, okay, well then who am I? Okay, I'm a boy who grew up in Atlanta. Atlanta is a made-up construct. This is really just dirt that a bunch of buildings got put onto. Okay, so if I'm not that, then, you know, I'm an embryo. Okay, no. Go deeper into that. You're the thoughts and emotions of Perry Worthey. No, that's just a brain. Your brain sends those signals to tell you what emotion is and what emotion to have, because your emotion can be different just because of how you feel. It can get real hot. Now you real hot, but as soon as it get colder, damn, now your emotions are changed. So you're not your emotions. Then who are you? You know what I'm saying? Who am I? And how do I find this? You just have to keep asking yourself and sitting in silence until you finally get behind that. Once you get past the physical plane, you get into the intellectual plane. The intellectual plane is the emotions, the thoughts. All these are going to continue to happen anyway. So how do you get past that? You just continue to sit. You continue to breathe. And then you're going to get to a point where all the way in the back, you're your consciousness, your awareness. That's what human beings are. We are pure awareness. Being and is that. That's it. You just are.
Yeah. And I think too, the being silent and not identifying with too much of anything for too long is because you're constantly getting new information. You're constantly doing something new, which leads to your evolution, which leads to a new person, right? So I think that's why, like, and then I think when you are too married to an identity, that leads to like not being as flexible as you could, or
not being as open to certain situations, being rigid, and that's how those generational things start to happen. Now you're your parents again, but you're not, and that's how when you're talking about who am I going to be? What was it? What's it called? Success and Happiness podcast.
You plus happy.
You plus happy. Okay. I'm sorry, but
I'm just joking. Like, you just got here.
I know, man. I was like, literally like 20 minutes ago. But you plus happy, you're going to still be the same person, because it's like, who was I when I was 4 or 5? When you were looking in the mirror, you weren't this. You weren't the same physical body. You didn't have the same thoughts. You had the thoughts of a 4-year-old. You had the body of a 4-year-old. So now that you're a 26 man, there has to be some level of consistency here. And that consistency is you being aware. You were aware that you were 26. You were aware that you started You and Happy, and now you're going to be aware when You and Happy has 1 million followers. But on that deeper core, you're still going to be that light, that energy. That's why I call it. Like, I'm still going to be that being. You know what I'm saying?
That can evolve too, though.
Yeah, it can evolve, but the consciousness doesn't. That stays consistent. You're always going to be aware of that. You know what I'm saying?
Because the consciousness doesn't have like...
It's no shape to it. It's ever flowing. It's ever changing. It's like
it doesn't have emotions.
It doesn't.
It's just an observation. It's just observing.
Is.
There
you go.
Yeah. So I'm with you on all of that, and I'm saying that to say, but how do you manage having these, looking at the world like this and deciding to live in this world with these thoughts, and how you get what I'm saying, like your spiritual health, your health in that area. But there's still practicalities, right? There's still practical things we have to do, you know? So that's how we get to the business side of things, and like how you the entrepreneurship. So how do you marry that with the practical world?
Again, by becoming the person who does that. So you got to sit down. Once you have the plan, what are the actions that person does? And people say it all the time, but it's real. Like, you have to be that person. So for me, you need an example, and that's where the infinite intelligence, or that's where God, or that's where those visions show you, because there are people who've already done it. I'm not special. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mimic an athlete, and that's why I call my program the Everyday Athlete Jump Rope Program. Worthy Athletics. I want to train an everyday athlete, and what an everyday athlete is, I need to exemplify it. It's like, I'm like LeBron, or I'm like Derrick Henry. Those are two of one of my favorite athletes to watch.
Who is Derrick Henry?
He's a NFL. Sorry. He's an NFL running back.
For what team?
For the Baltimore Ravens, actually.
Oh,
that's crazy!
Oh my God! Sorry to my home team.
Dang, that's tough.
Wait, what's his name again? Henry?
Derrick Henry. Yeah, King Henry.
I'm sorry to that man.
She's finna go watch all his highlights
sorry,
real
Mr.
quick.
Henry.
finna go watch his highlights
Oh
reel.
gosh, I've been in another world. I am so sorry.
But it'd be like that.
I know LeBron is.
Yeah, that's how I try to bring him in. But no, I say that to say like these guys are $1 million, $1 billion athletes, and they spend. LeBron spends like $1 million on his body a year, and Derrick Henry spends 6 figures on his bodies a year. We can't even spend $1,000 on our body. We can't spend $20 a month on our body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like for me, like our career field is like our sport. You know what I'm saying? I want to be an entrepreneur. So how am I going to be the best entrepreneur that I can be? First, I have to go back to what is entrepreneurship and what is the essence of entrepreneurship. And that's to create something that's going to help somebody else through goods and services. Okay. Goods and services. So it has to be good. It's not going to be able to take away from you. It has to add to your life. Okay. You know? And so my workouts reflect that. I got to be vital. I got to be a leader that someone wants to follow. So I have to make sure my legs are strong and I'm running. I have to be able to jump high. I have to be able to move, because that's what inspires people when they see you do it.
Yeah. How often do you work out?
Every day, almost. It's weird because I technically every day, but not every day is the same.
Yeah. Why did you? So you are going into entrepreneurship. You already did it, so you're doing it in a different field.
Yeah.
So why are you choosing fitness?
Yeah, because I like looking hot.
No, for real. I'm serious. Like, so this is one of my favorite subjects, and I'm not going to hijack your interview.
No, you're good.
And I wish my body was look different than it does, because I work out every day. But I look at fitness as a spiritual thing almost. So like people work out together and all that, and that's cool. But for me, I like to put my headphones on, and I literally feel like I leave my body. Yes, like I'm not there. The physical stuff is happening, and I like to work out until I'm gonna cry. Then I come back, and I'm like, Selena, don't cry in here in this gym in front of everybody. I look at the wall like, God, and then I do the workout. But that I don't know. So being an American and living in this capitalist society and not being as in tune with myself, I got my Ace Fitness group certification. But I'm glad I did it or whatever, because I thought, I don't want to do it because I thought.
No, I get it. I'm certified by NASA. I know what you're saying.
So this is, I thought everything you like you had to monetize, and that's not true. So that's not true, and that taught me that that's my sacred thing. And we need fitness instructors. We need people professionals in this world. But I
it is
learned,
a connection for you and your body.
But I learned that I'm not gonna monetize this because it's so sacred to me. And I love that I have that thing that feels like spiritual to me. I have a lot of different spiritual practices, but that is one. And I know for some people it's not like that. And it wasn't like that in the beginning.
It wasn't.
But now I'm so like into it. I've been consistent for like 10 years or something. So it's like, it's a very, very important subject to me. And I respect it and I honor it. And I just don't understand how somebody wouldn't want to move their body physically. Just find the thing you like. I always tell people, anyway, I'm going to go into this whole, I'm going to get on my body. Because it doesn't have to be the gym. You know, everybody thinks that. You have to find the thing you like to get you addicted. And then you can start doing other stuff. Yeah. Anyway, what are your thoughts and why did you choose this? Anyways, everything you think.
And going back to, I think it spawns for what I want to be in my life, because this is going to be one small divot of the success that I'm going to have in my life. Yeah. I'm not going to monetize and do personal training forever. You know what I'm saying? No, like
how long you want to do it?
Who knows? And I wanted to get me to a certain level to where I can do it. So the reason I'm doing it like this because my plan is financially is to have multiple sources of income. I don't want my plan to be like, trade my time for money. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to trade my money for money because you're going to need more money to make money. I'm trying to have multiple sources of income that all fund each other and that fund my lifestyle. So I want to start with the fitness platform because I'm in my youth right now. And So I'm in my youth right now. I'm in my prime. I know genetically I was blessed. I've always been a great athlete growing up. I have an amazing personality. I'm going to use those skills and my knowledge of the human body, because I'm a huge nerd. I can tell you about all your muscle groups. I can tell you about, if you're right-handed or left-handed based off blah, blah, blah. And I know how to get you results. So I want to monetize that and make it fun, because one thing we're missing in this world is play. You know what I'm saying? We're not playful enough. And that's where most creativity happens. We're stuck in an office or a cubicle, or we're trying to be a engineer because they make the most money, but don't realize you're standing at a screen for like 45 hours a day, right? Yeah. But I work with kiddos in gymnastics, and they got all this outside noise. But when it comes to at least 60 minutes, they're in a different world too. Just like you're saying, they're doing cartwheels, they're flipping, they're worried. They're not worried about taxes. They're worried about lifting, themselves up over this bar. And I'm like, hell yeah, because that's going to permeate throughout the rest of your life. So for me, it's a religious thing too. But I've not perfected, but I've gotten to a level that's so deep for me that it just leaks out, not unconsciously. People are attracted to how I train and what I do. I have people come to it all the time. I train friends who want bigger legs. I'm training this, that, and third. And I want to spread that gospel. Yeah. I want to spread the gospel of like training. Like you said, it doesn't have to be strength. The best tool for body recomposition is jump roping and sprinting for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do that a lot, and that's why I do the jump rope class. Yeah. Because now you get to lock in. You can have a million different vibes with a jump rope because you're dancing. And that's what it is. That's what it goes back to. I'm glad you're talking about energy, because we have to get into the flow of life. That's what it is that people are not understanding. We live on vibrations, and the higher the vibrations, the better your life is going to be. The lower the vibrations, that's mean you're going to be no more depressed, and things aren't going to look. It's going to be a bleak outlook. So if you want to raise your level of vibration, how do you do it? The essence of vibration is movement. So if you want to raise your vibration, you got to have a higher level of movement, a higher level of thinking. And if you go outside, everything is moving. We're always in constant motion. This plant, if it's real or not, it's in motion. The molecules in it, the water is real. You know what I'm saying? But everything is moving. So that's what I wanted people to do. Just move.
And to say that in a way that people, because I am on board with you with the way you speak about vibrations and energy, but for people who aren't, I like things to be accessible to everyone. I know that's not realistic because everybody think how they want, but take away those words. I heard a psychologist say depression is they broke it down better than I'm going to break it down, but depression is the lack of movement. Yeah. And just moving your body. If you're down, just moving your body. Just get up. Just get up is going to help. Yeah. So to your point, and that just take that makes it as practical as I can say it. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. So, how would you say? Would you add to that?
The only thing I would add is just that you also gotta have grace with yourself, because I can sit here and say it. I can sit here and preach like, "Oh, I've never been depressed." No, I was, man. Like,
I've been depressed too.
You know what I'm saying? I just got out of a major depression not too long ago because my girlfriend had broke up with me at the time, and then the personal training, 3 of my clients canceled at once. I was so behind on rent. I was in a job that I was trying to make some money, and it was the worst time of my life. I wasn't vibing. Yeah. Right? But now look at me, you know what I'm saying? I'm in a much better place, and that's because you just got to keep moving along. And sometimes you can't do it with yourself. Sometimes your body isn't going to do it. So sometimes you have to go through those moments. But
that's true.
That's when you go to other people. And I'm going to let you continue, but real quick, I can't remember this. Maya Angelou, when you talk about that depression is a lack of movement, but Maya Angelou says she has she did an Oprah interview, and she was talking about this song. It was like how God put rainbows in our clouds and stuff like that. And so that's what it is. It's clouds. You know what I'm saying? It's your judgment, your spirit is clouded because everything is so clouded, and you let so much build up in your heart that it physically stopped the body. It's an energy source. So now you got no more. Well, you have energy. It's there. It's just blocked. So if you can find the rainbows in your life, then that's gonna always keep you open. And to find the rainbows, you just got to be a rainbow in someone else's life. You got to be a blessing in someone else's life.
I want to ask you how you got out of your depression, but before I do, I want to also be responsible in saying, like, you could define, you knew why you were depressed. there are people who struggle with clinical depression who don't know why they're depressed. So I don't know nothing about that, y'all. I ain't talking about that. Facts. I'm sorry. You gotta go somewhere else for that. I'm not being dismissive. I want to be responsible.
Facts.
That's a very different thing, but I've never been diagnosed with depression, so I want to be sensitive to that. But I did go through a period when I was out in LA. I tell this all the time. I was depressed for like 2 years. Like, it was bad. It was very bad, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know. But I would say art helped a lot. I wrote a lot of poems. If somebody reads those poems from that time, I'm like, damn,
Sheesh.
Girl. It was like talking about shards of glass in my soul. It was like crazy.
I still see your shadows in my room.
It was some dark stuff. But you know, and I'm not even going to sit here and lie, be like, you know, hindsight is 2020. I'm glad I went through that. No, I'm not glad I went through it. I still don't know why, and I don't like it, but it happened. And so, but I will say, I can get out of things a little quicker now, you know, but it's something that goes up and down, and I have to just be, I'm just being transparent about it, because I never want people to feel alone, you know?
Yep.
And so I'm very careful about what I share, but I have made conscious decisions to share that, because when I was depressed, I wanted, well, not misery loves company, but I wanted to know somebody else has gone through this and that they can go through it, and come out on the other side. Anyways, so how did you get out of it? Because I'm sorry that happened, like your clients and your girlfriend. I mean, everything happens for a reason, but it don't feel like at that time.
Oh, at that time, it was like,
not
absolutely.
like that.
No, my world was collapsing. I would have broke down crying by then. But no, it was, I credit, and going back to what Maya Angelou said, she said she's had a lot of clouds in her life, like we all do, but she's also had so many rainbows and so many blessings in her life. And I just, the strength of other people helped me. I'm not gonna lie to you, it wasn't me.
Really?
Because if it was just me, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like, I couldn't move. But like, people, my homies physically came, and even though I kept feeling like I was alone, I kept moving though. Every day I did get up and I walked. I don't know if you pray, or for people who do pray, praying helps. Like, I didn't pray, but I just sat with myself and be like, bro, what's up? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's prayer in itself. But I know I needed to keep moving. It's as simple as that. So I just kept applying to jobs, even though I was depressed. I kept looking for places, and then out of the blue, I had an opportunity to do tech sales, and then that helped. I had another guy. He was awesome, man. He was like this fellowship kind of leader guy, and they wanted me to join the fellowship. I'm not a big religion guy myself, so I didn't do the fellowship, but just the little things that he would do, like he would let me work with him for a few hours, 8 hours, and maybe make $100 so I can get food, because that's how I wasn't eating or anything like that. He made sure I got outside and got some work in. So being around those people, those rainbows in your life, and that's who I credit all to. That's why whenever I work out, I wear stripes, and I dedicate it, because it's the gratitude and it's the people that gives me the strength to do what I want to do.
And you kept going.
Yep.
How did the people know to come?
Then that's a language that you just can't speak. It's vibrations. We send out vibrations through the actions that we do and through the words that we speak, and they feel it. So, you know, if you ever call somebody and they're like, dang, you knew I needed you to call me. Or, wow, you called at the right time. It wasn't a coincidence. So him coming into my life at that time where I needed wasn't a coincidence. Me going through that stuff wasn't a coincidence. But I just had to keep speaking. I had to keep telling people that I had to let the ego go. I was just like, yeah, I haven't eaten, man. Or like, I'm, you know, what's up? Like, and not be embarrassed by that, because, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's...
I'd say as an entrepreneur, I knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't know the level that it would get. But I knew it was a part of the journey. And again, I'm a gamer. There are always parts of a game that suck. There are like levels where you're just like, I'm about to sell it, right? But for me, I've always been like, I'm not going to let this computer generated monster beat me. The fuck? I'm finna go back. I'm finna grind some XP. I'm finna get better. I'm finna get smarter. I'm finna do some lower level shit until I'm ready to go and lock in.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened.
What was I going to say about that? That's the big thing, is reaching out for help or just being honest. And I think that was the huge mistake that I made, and I had to learn when I was going through my valley Yeah, Valley. I didn't reach out, and I was so far away from everyone who I knew very well, and that was the one thing that I would change if I could. I don't have regrets, but I couldn't. I just felt like I couldn't open up and tell anybody, and I think that would have been extremely helpful. Yep. And then when I don't game, I'm not a gamer, but I hear a lot of gamers talk about how. I just want to shout out gamers and respect for it. I mean, it feels like the narrative around gamers is shifting because for a long time, it was like, weirdos.
You're a game freak.
And I was one of those people. Sorry, y'all, but I can admit it. But hearing people who I respect talk about gaming and doing it, it sounds like it really helps their minds. Yeah. And it helps you can adapt the lessons that you learn to life, and it's like very similar, like not very similar, but like the core, the lessons that you walk away with.
Everything connects to everything in any way. So it's just like when they talk about sports as a metaphor of life, gaming is a metaphor for life, fashion is a metaphor for life. Fitness is
fitness for everything. I use fitness for everything.
You want to progressively overload slowly, and then boom, you're stronger. You know, it's the exact same thing, but people and it's not our fault. You know, it's the information and knowledge that we're fed into, and that hatred gets spread to where it's like, and then kids are buttholes growing up. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be or not, like that's just what it is, right?
Well, I think. It kind of sucks, but because everything's about money. I was just listening to a podcast about America, how it runs on money and fucks up everything. But anyway, that's not the point. What I think the gift and the curse, like everything has two sides of the coin. I think what's making gaming more respected is that you can make money as a gamer.
Yep.
Where growing up, that you were just wasting your time, you're just playing video games,
touching grass.
And he said, streamers are the new rappers. Like
you don't even know.
Like
I want to stream
so much. Everybody I know, not everybody, but a lot of people I know want to do streaming, and it's like it's very lucrative. But I think I don't know a lot about it, so I'm not trying to say I do. But from what I do know, it's just like any other field. If you're at the top, you make a lot. If you're at the bottom, you don't.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think while monetizing everything, I have my feelings about that. However, monetizing gaming has gained it some respect.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
And I don't want to monetize my game. I do want to stream though, but mine is just a little bit more competitive because again, I'm a competitive gamer. So it's like I want to do like competitive fighting games and stuff like that. Like they lock in and they got like tournaments. So I want to work for something which I feel like people can help that. That would be cool if y'all want to help that. Yeah. But I mean, it's something I'm going to do anyway. So I would love to bring people on the ride. And I see that if you want to support me, all right. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So
as you should.
The fuck.
Okay. So we don't have a lot of time left, I don't think.
Sorry.
No. I'm talking to myself because I'm like, okay, what questions do I want to ask before we go? But I did want to, because I don't have my producer here, y'all, so I'm winging it by myself. It's like,
you're doing a great job.
Back in the day, my episodes. But I got spoiled. With fitness, so many people care about it. So many people want to look good. It's so much more than that, y'all. Like, if that's your motivator, fine. But what it does to you and how healthy and how good and your self-esteem and your skin
and blah, blah, blah. Right.
But anyway, if somebody came to you and was like, tell me 3 things about fitness, like, and they don't work out or whatever, or 3 things that people don't know, what would you say? Or just the tips you want to give?
Start sprinting.
Really?
Yeah. Start sprinting.
Be safe with sprinting, right?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be safe with all kinds of form of exercise.
But if you don't work out and you just go outside today and start sprinting,
yeah, take your time.
Okay.
Yeah, don't just try to go all out.
How many seconds would you say to sprint to someone who's brand new?
The way you can set up a sprint, it's called sprint interval training. Is like HIIT. You gotta follow a workout. If you just go straight into lifting, you could crush your neck, right?
True, yeah.
But if you just gotta follow a plan. So for beginners, I recommend you do about 30-second sprint or really 25 to 30 seconds as fast as you can, and then you wait 4 minutes, and then you do it again, and then you wait 4 minutes. You do that about 5 times. That's your workout. Now your body is fully recovered. But for each sprint, the goal is to go all out as fast as you can. And then make sure you got water and stuff.
And a lot of warming up and stretching.
Of course.
Right?
But I say it like, because for me, that's like intuitive.
I know,
so I'm like,
but
yes, obviously warm up.
Because I started sprinting, y'all, a couple years ago, and I didn't stretch nothing. And let me tell you something about my hamstring, okay? It recovered, but I'm a person who is very, I can be a little flighty and impatient. And I'm like, I want to get to my workout. Let's go. And I was skipping warm-ups and cool-downs, baby girl. No, I don't do that no more. But
my knees hurt just hearing that.
I know, it was wrong. I did a very wrong thing. So that's why I was like, don't go out here and just start sprinting, y'all. You better do some warm-ups and some cool-downs and hydration.
I'm going to say, yep. So that'd be the 3 things that kind of helped me as I was forming those. So jump rope, stretch, and sprint. I'll take one back. Instead of sprint, because that's a higher level one, it works. But again, you got to prime your body for it. Mm-hmm. So jump rope, electrolytes, and what was the other one we just said? Stretching, yes. Start stretching more. That's going to help you be more flexible so your body won't hurt. It's preventative. It's not like corrective.
Right.
So the more you stretch, then the easier it's going to be for you to recover. Drink water with electrolytes, and drink. The key to drinking enough water is half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, it would be like 50 ounces of water a day. Mm-hmm. And then start jump roping. You can jump rope for maybe like 30 seconds. Well, I do like a minute on and then a minute off, but if you want a beginner, 30, 45 seconds on, and then a minute off, 30, 45 seconds. Because what jump roping does, it's a full body exercise. And it gets you to that, the runner's high, or like you said, when you just lock in with your music and now everything is just you and your body, it gets you there very quickly.
Yeah. How do you feel about those jump ropes with no rope? The ones that are just the handle?
I think they're goofy, but...
Stupid, right? No offense, y'all. Because I'm not going to lie, jump roping intimidates me. And so I was just Googling stuff and I saw those. I was like, that's dumb. I'm also a purist. Like, I like things like very traditional and so I'm not going to use it. But jump roping, y'all, it's scary. It's some scary shit.
It is, but it's also fun. Like, if you ever seen Jump In, the movie, that's why I say, before people get terrified about doing some of the workouts, like, let your mind get motivated by a movie. Like, if you watch some Instagram reel or some influencer be like, yeah, go try this new product. You're like, I'm going to try that. And then you try it and you suck, right? But at the same token, like for me, I watch coaching. If I'm going to coach, one of my favorite movies of all time is Coach Carter. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to jump rope, or you want to try something like that, watch something like Jump In.
I saw this video and I posted it on my U Plus Happy page. I didn't post it. I put it on my story. This woman, I think she was 65, and she was, I don't know what the term is. She was overweight, and she had a trainer, and she started jump roping, and he showed the progression, and like, insane. She did, she could only jump rope like 3 times. At first she was like,
yep.
And then she was like, whoo. And then it showed like months later, and she was jump roping. So, because I think about jump roping is, I worry about the joints for some people. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, you can strengthen your joints, but it helps strengthen your joints too. Okay. The point of exercising is to get stronger.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, people coming in, don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Recover.
Just because people, not to cut you off, I think people get excited.
Yeah.
And they do too much too fast, and then they quit.
Yup.
So I think starting slow, sustainable.
Start with someone who does, put your ego, it goes back to what we're talking. Put your ego away. You know what I'm saying? If you want to learn, jump roping is a skill. Working out is a skill. I'm not saying go get a personal trainer that costs thousands of dollars.
Right.
But watch a YouTube video on how to jump rope. How to prevent injury. You know, go to Worthy Athletics. We talk about all that, right? Yeah. So promo, right? But I talk about how to prepare for jump roping. So how to stretch, how to, when you are jump roping, how to do it to where you're not hurting your ankles too much. You got to stay on your toes to where you get the right amount of energy. And then afterwards, I show you need an ice bath. I tell you get Epsom salt. I tell you how hydrate and recover. You know what I'm saying? What parts?
Have to recover.
Yeah, and it's the knowledge of it. Like having someone who knows it and been through what you've done. Put your ego aside and just ask them, because there are people. They are just gonna try and take your money, but there are actual people who want to help you. So like the main muscles that it works is actually not the joints or the ankles. It's the calf muscle, the gastrius, and the soleus, so the sides. So there's specific ways that you can recover those two. They're gonna recover quicker than a lot of muscles in the body, right? And if you want to strengthen your joints and ankles, that's where the fun of working out comes from, because you're like, dang, my ankles and stuff hurt. How do I prevent it from not breaking? I need to get stronger ankles. How do I get stronger ankles? Let me look it up. I'll tell you how to get stronger ankles too. But how do you look it up? Then you find exercises. Now you're compounding. Now, next thing you know, I'm a fitness person. 2 months later, wow, I look great. Just like that.
Yep. And a testament to, I used to have lower back pain. This was a while ago. And then I started just touching my toes every morning. Literally like 20, 30 seconds, gone. Not that day, but like over time. Same thing with my ankles. I don't know if they're weak or whatever, but I just started doing the circles and doing the flexes and stuff. And it's so simple. It's just doing it. It's so helpful. I cannot. It's free.
Yeah, dude.
Please just do something.
Yes, do shit.
And just do shit.
Just do shit until it works.
And check out Perry's YouTube channel, because I really think this is so corny, but like health is wealth.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It really is. Okay. I'm going to wrap us up. Wait, before I do, 2 more things. One, you said it, but what is your definition of success?
Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you are a college student trying to get a grade on a test, every time you study, you're a success. If you're an entrepreneur with $0 and you're trying to make your first $10, you're a success. If you got $1,000 trying to make $1 million, you're a success. So work towards something that you believe in.
Amazing. Anything else before I close out?
Drink more water.
No, for real. No, I'm so serious. Hydration is so dope.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I try to drink like a gallon a day.
I was on a gallon a day for a very long time, and then I don't know why I stopped, but I'm getting back. I don't know why. I think I just got tired of going to the store buying. I would buy like 7 gallons every Sunday, and then.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. But there's no excuse though. This is a reminder for me to get back on my gallon a day. If you think you can't do it, I promise you can. You just gotta set yourself up for success.
Yep.
Anyways, okay. That was your closing. That was it. Drink more water.
Drink more water.
I'm gonna close this out. Thank you, Perry, for sharing your time with me and inspiring. Yes. And short notice, and inspiring listeners to redefine success for themselves. You can find out more about Perry on
Worthy Athletics, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay.
And Worthy is WORTHEY. We're different. You're worth it. That's what it's called. That's our slogan.
You're worth it. Okay, that'll be in the show notes. So check Perry out. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
If you made it this far, share the episode, comment, leave feedback, reviews, all that stuff is so helpful. I don't even care if you don't agree with us. Just say it. Just tell me. Tell me.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Put it in the comments. Turn up in the comments. Again, and I ask that you subscribe to the You Plus Happy YouTube channel. There's all kinds of stuff on there. There's dance videos I just started. There is red carpet. There's skits. There's over 100 episodes. It's highlights. Just go on there. You can spend days on there. Binge it. And follow the show on Instagram at You Plus Happy. There's content every day on there too. And I asked the guests to say the tagline, which is, we'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
Yay, we did it. Thank you.
Yeah.